Let's be real, most race swaps don't work, not because audiences are secretly racist, not because every adaptation has to be a copy-paste of the source material. They usually don't work because it feels random, like somebody walked into the writer's room, threw a dart at the casting board, and called it a day. That's it. They're politically needy or completely disconnected from the actual story. But these are the arguments that people, whether right or wrong, people are making them. But House of the Dragon might be the rare example where changing a character's race didn't just work, it actually made the adaptation a whole lot better. And I don't mean in a, well, it doesn't hurt anything kind of way. I mean, it made the show better, structurally, visually, dramatically. I think it's time we admit something. The Velaryon race swap might have solved more problems than it created. Let's break it down.
Lord Corlys of House Velaryon, the future King Consort.
Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stories and the blackness behind them. I have never opened up like that before. But seriously, today we're talking about a hot topic.
Dracarys.
Don't worry, it won't be that hot of a topic. Let's talk about House of the Dragons, House Velaryon. Now, personally, I don't think every race swap is automatically good or bad. I take them case by case. For me, the question is, how does it affect the story? Does it improve the story? Does it improve the viewing experience? Does it make the world more interesting but keeps it grounded? And when it comes to House of the Dragon, I honestly think the answer is yes. Let's start with the most obvious reason. In George R.R. Martin's lore, the Targaryens and the Velaryons basically look the same. Silver hair, pale skin, purple eyes. Imagine trying to follow a political drama with 20 people running around looking like cousins at the world's most expensive cosplay convention, and then put a bunch of silver wigs on them. It's a nightmare. By making House Velaryon black, the audience instantly understand who's who. It's visual storytelling 101. No confusion, no, wait, which silver-haired guy is that again? But it's not just that. It made the bastard storyline even better. This is where the race swap becomes kind of a genius move. In the books, people suspect Rhaenyra's sons aren't legitimate Velaryons because they have brown hair. It's suspicious, but it's not completely impossible. There are dark-haired Targaryens in the lore. The show turns that suspicion into visual storytelling. The Velaryons are black, the kids are clearly not. Now everybody watching understands exactly what's happening without a single line of dialogue. Brilliant. The funny part, the paternity is so glaringly obvious to everyone at court, but the entire kingdom basically has to pretend they don't see it. King Viserys is sitting there looking at these children like, nope, perfectly legitimate, you are the father, next question. It turns the whole thing into dramatic irony and kind of funny.
I do believe he has his father's nose.
Everyone knows, the audience knows, the court knows, but nobody can say it. It just hangs there. It's great TV, and it doesn't break the story. That's the best part. The race swap didn't change the actual core elements. Corlys still wants his bloodline on the throne, Rhaenyra still fights for succession, the alliance still happens, the betrayals still happen, the dragons still do dragon stuff. The core story remains exactly what fans showed up for. Which brings us to something even more important. The Velaryons actually gained a stronger identity with this decision. So let's be honest, a huge reason this worked is Steve Toussaint, because if you're going to make a major casting change, the actor has to deliver. Let's see what you got, HBO's Harry Potter. Good luck. But because he basically crushed it every moment he was on screen, the casting choice wasn't validated by a corporate press release about diversity or whatever. It was validated by the absolute quality of the work this man brought to the screen. Every scene he walked into feels important. He didn't need a dragon, he didn't need flashy speeches. The man just stood there and somehow feels like the most important person in the room. And after watching him play Corlys Velaryon, I genuinely struggle to imagine anybody else doing it better. And I think that's why so many black viewers connected with him as well, myself included. I think a lot of black viewers responded positively because he wasn't written as a symbolism or tokenism. He was written as a character, a very cool, flawed character. The sea snake, legendary explorer, master sailor, the richest lord in Westeros, a man who basically built his own legacy through ambition and skill. Dad is not a side character. He is not comic relief. He's not there to check a diversity box. Well, technically, he kind of is there to check a diversity box, but he doesn't feel like that. He's one of the biggest power players in the entire story, and he plays like that. He's someone to admire. And visually, the Velaryons look incredible, come on! Because unlike some adaptations, Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, I'm looking at you, Jadine. But unlike that piece of crap, House of the Dragon incorporates black aesthetic correctly. The Velaryons look like they belong in this world. They're not just an insert. They're not a lesson. They're a house. With power, with history, with respect. And the white dreads look freaking cool, giving him and his house distinct black identity, visually separating them from the Targaryens as their own thing. Now, one thing to keep in mind, television isn't a book, and I think one of the #1 reasons this worked is because television and books aren't the same thing. Books can spend pages describing people, and you can get right into their thoughts and feelings. You can know them from a very different perspective, in a much deeper kind of way. When you're reading a 1,000-page novel, you have internal narration and descriptive text to keep track of a massive family tree. But TV relies completely on what you can see. If your characters look distinct, the audience can follow complex political relationships without needing a cheat sheet next to the remote. When viewers can instantly identify families, alliances, and bloodlines, the story becomes easier to follow. I don't think that's politics, that's just good filmmaking. The other reason I think this works is the world building itself. House Velaryon isn't some isolated family sitting on an island doing absolutely nothing. They're sailors, explorers, merchants, traders. They are people who traveled the known world and built their fortune through their naval power. Giving them a distinct visual identity actually reinforces that history. Meanwhile, the Targaryens are famously obsessed with preserving their bloodline. They're inward-looking, the Velaryons are outward-looking. The one family built power through dragons, the other built it through ships. The visual difference helps communicate that instantly. To me, that's smart storytelling. But the biggest mistake other adaptations make is treating race swapping as the entire idea, instead of asking, how does this improve the story? They stop at, what if we take this character? Cool, yeah, I'm with you. We make him black, okay, and? That's all I got. That's it. It ends there. They don't do anything beyond that. House of the Dragon, I think, did the opposite. The change served the narrative. It helped viewers. It strengthened certain plot lines. It improved visual storytelling. And most importantly, it still respected the core story being adapted. And I think that's why audiences accepted it, at least a lot more than some of the other stuff. Not because everybody suddenly changed their opinion on race swapping, though it is good to mention that things have heated up a lot more since the first season of the show compared to where we are now when it comes to shows, TV, IPs, and black people's involvement in that. But I think because the execution was good, is good, people let it go. Because good execution beats internet arguments every single time. At the end of the day, critics will argue the adaptation should stay visually faithful to the source material, and honestly, that's a fair argument you can make. The others will argue that diversity changes are needed and to provide non-whites opportunity in these fantasy shows that typically don't have other minorities. For me, the real question is whether the change made the story better, made the show better, made it worse, or didn't change anything at all. And then we can have a real conversation. And in the House of the Dragon's case, I think it made it better, and I think it mattered a lot. Maybe not in some massive earth-shattering way either, but in a lot of small ways that I think add up to being something worth doing in the first place. It made the families easier to distinguish, it strengthened that paternity storyline, it gave House Velaryon a stronger identity, and it gave us Steve Toussaint's version of House Velaryon. But what do you think? Did House of the Dragon prove the race swapping can actually improve a story? Or should adaptations stay as close to the source material as possible? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, you'll love the next one coming up. But until then, like, comment, and share this out.